Hey guys, so I'm back. I gave you guys a long, what is it called? Coffee break. I had to go pick up the kids. No, not pick up the kids. The kids were picked up. I was going for a meeting. So I went for the meeting and I really spent a long time there. It was really nice. So I'm back. And I noticed as I left, most of you had enough time to check on the video, the live that I was doing, the stream that I was doing before, which is why I have decided to kind of come back again and talk to you guys. Hey, how are you all doing today? How is everyone doing? I hope everyone is doing okay. Hey, how are you? Yes, I'm back as I promised. It took me a while. I had to put the boys to bed, then I did my night routine, and then I just finished everything. So now I'm here. I'm here. Thank you so much, Unmask, for being here. Thank you so very much. Hey, Mary, how are you doing? Thank you so much for being here, sweetheart. And Unmask and Bibiche Lifestyle, thank you so very much for being here as well. Really appreciate you guys so very much. Oh, that's so cute. That's so amazing. I have three boys and yeah, three amazing boys, and I really enjoy their energy. And towards the end of the night, it takes my energy to put them down to bed, but we bless God for the energy. Anyway, I have a certain light here which is kind of like not, I don't know, doing its thing, but we shall continue. I don't want like the whole place to be too bright today. Anyway, Bibiche is saying hello, Mary. Yes, the first one is 9. Just turned 10 actually. You can see there's still decoration happening around there. The first one just turned 10. So I've been a mom for 10 years. Like, guys, I'm still getting over that. And then the second one is 6. And then the last one is 2, turning 3 soon. So, yippee! It's God's blessings. So afraid to have another kid and other kids because I don't want 3 boys. Lol. Oh, the feeling is mutual, but we take whatever God has given us. Like, it's still amazing. For me right now, I usually tell myself that what I want right now, I'm looking forward to having my daughters-in-law because the chances of having another boy, I see it's 0 to nil. And I think, oh, mama boys too. That's amazing. That's so cute. So the many mothers here I can see, and it's such a blessing. Like it's such a big, big blessing. Um, thank you so much, and thank you too for congratulations too for the 2 boys. That's a big congratulations. Like mothers just do amazing, and everything they do is amazing as well. It's teaching them, nurturing them, caring for them, loving them, playing with them. It's a lot. And we do it. And bravo to all of you out there. Oh, Mary, nice to know that you have 3 boys too. That's so amazing. So, I came back because we're talking about integration before, and I felt like my thoughts were everywhere. So now I came back. Now I'm like chill Zen. Now let's talk like Zen. Like everything in the day has been cross checked. So it's just mommy and daddy still over here somewhere. Yeah, but now at least my mind is in one place. So now we can have a chat. If you're here before, you might understand what we're talking about. If you're not here in the first time, then you might want to visit that, or you'll still catch up with this one as well. Yes, I still can't believe I'm about to have a 10-year-old boy, but thank God. Oh wow. It's seriously like I was looking at myself like it took me the birthday day to realize actually I've been a mom for 10 years. I was like, where has time gone to? Felt so emotional. But at the same time, I was like, wow, like I did that. So congratulations to you too, sweetheart. Congratulations to you too. Ah, the first ones are twins. Oh, I love it, love it, love it, love it. Yeah, so Mary is saying, thanks, darling Bibiche. Bibiche, you have a nice name. You have a really a unique name for that matter. So initially, when I came, we're talking about integration. And then I said I was going to come back. So then I came back right now. So I hope you guys who are here will be able to join in the conversation. And if you're watching from any other country that requires a different language from your mother tongue, then you might as well join as well if you want to. Um, integrating well, once you have moved from your country of origin into a new country that does not speak your language or speaks your language, but just getting settling down into that new place, like completely with regards to work, sorry, with regards to work, education, the language itself, if there's a language barrier between, if there's a language difference between the language spoken in your country and the language in the country which you're staying in. So, yeah, that's the type of integration I'm talking about. Sorry for not mentioning it. So, for example, with integration, I think let's start by what is integration. Um, integration is the process of learning a new language and the culture of the people there, settling down in that place while understanding the employment and training opportunities and the services like healthcare and education that that country has to offer for someone like you. Hey, Manuela. Bibiche is saying, yes, with culture shock and everything, there is so much that goes into that. Yeah, that's very true. So that's basically what integration is. And for me, in the aspect in which I'm talking about I'm in Finland, so I'll talk about the Finnish culture. But if you want to join and speak about the country you're in, I'm making this so that anybody who is able to come and watch these videos is able to relate. And what is happening with integration in Finland can be different from what's happening with integration in Germany, for example, or any other country, or Italy, or something like that. So that is why I thought I'm doing this process. I've not lived here too long enough to know everything, but at least the little I know, I want to share. So, why is it so important to learn the new language, for example? In Finland, English is not, English is not, oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much for being here, M. Stein TV. Thank you so much. In Finland, for example, what is it? This hair, some hair is bothering me. Okay, in Finland, for example, English is not the main language. The main languages here are Finnish and Swedish. And so when you come here as a person coming from a country that speaks English, it becomes a little bit of a challenge. And I think I explained that to you guys when I was talking about my first year experience in Finland, where I was telling you guys about the fact that moving around, shopping, communicating, and things like those really turned me into an introvert. I don't know if I mentioned that, but if I did now mentioning it, I became such an introvert because it's the many people here speaking Finnish or Swedish. And if you find a few that speak in English, they could be your family members, or many people shy away from speaking English, or they just sometimes, in few cases, fear foreigners. I think just trying to speak also for them also, I'm trying to understand this. For them also, it's trying to speak a language that you have been taught, like a third language, because here they have two main languages, which is Finnish and Swedish. So for them, speaking English, it's kind of like, wow, I'd rather just, shy off and go my way instead of engaging or something like that. And then there's also the aspect where Finns are naturally just very shy people. So in Finland, for example, considering the fact that Finnish and Swedish are the main languages spoken here. It means if you go to the shop, if you go to the supermarket, if you go to any place you go to, you're going to have to encounter this language, either in Swedish or in Finnish. So the most important thing is to learn it. If you go to the African Afro-Asian store, which mostly there are some of them here, not so many, like not everywhere, but at least in every city, you'll find an Afro-Asian store. The products there are mostly written in English. So, but let's face the reality, like not every day you're going to go to that supermarket, because either you always go there for just a specific product, but not for your whole general household shopping. So then, hence, you have to go to the supermarket. So the only thing is to tackle the main challenge. And that is why I was mentioning before that I had to. Oh, no, I don't have badges, but I have what is it called? PayPal. If you guys want PayPal, I can pin it here. So basically, if you come to Finland, you'll have to learn the language. That's the only way. That's the only way to be able to get services and understand what, if your questions have been, if you've had any questions, to get them answered, like to your fulfillment without a translator, you might need to get the language thing done for you. For me, I believe like integration is the very first step of settling down in any place. Let me see. I feel you completely, because I had the same kind of experience coming from West Africa, Togo, to live in the US. So it was hard trying to learn a new language that is new to you. I understand you too. I understand you too. And then the fact that it's also like learning everything else around work and school and how the days go and everything. It's such a big challenge. So, for example, in Finland, like I said, in every place you go to, you have to meet this language. And I remember my first place where I was like, you know what, it's actually good, I'm starting the language training, was when Corona actually hit. There were many information being passed around in Finnish and in Swedish as well. And later on, they provided the same information in English, but it was only in the websites. Like if you go into the website, you'll find the information in English, but mostly if you walked into a shop, for example, there'll be the Corona information only in Finnish and in Swedish. So you can imagine, maybe a product has been written, don't touch unless you're buying, and then you're just like, you know what, I can always check, like maybe tomatoes, let me touch and see the bottle. Is it the bottom? Is it nice? Is it, and the instruction there is written in Finnish or in Swedish. And maybe, let's say, in bad occasion, you don't have your translate. So then what happens? Someone looks at you like, what? Like, didn't you see the, oh, thank you so much for being here, Waingo Comedy. That's the same way here too. That's really nice to know you guys can relate to what I'm saying. In Germany, Mary's in Germany. You mean in Finland they talk Swedish too? Wow, I never knew this information. Yes, we speak Finnish and Swedish, so those two languages are the main languages in Finland. Some people, or I say the current population, the current young generation speaks good English, and even the older generation, like my family speaks good English. They speak good English, but it's something that does not come out naturally. So you limit yourself as an immigrant or someone coming here for the first time by choosing not to study the language if you know you're going to live here for a while. Because then you limit also the interaction you're going to have with people. For example, I just don't know how it's possible to survive. For me, the first year was really tough. If you call, I'll give you an example why it's tough. For example, if you call the hospital, and they give you options, if you want to be served in English, if you want to be served in Finnish, if you want to be served in Swedish, they give you those options, right? So you're able to choose, for example, on the caller machine, which in language you'd love to be served in. For some reasons, before I learned Finnish, I used to choose English. And to tell you the amount, I used to pay 108 €200 for my phone bill. That's just calling, and that is local services, and sometimes outside Finland. So you end up spending a lot of money waiting, because one thing, when you move to a new place, everything is new. It's the internet, it's the healthcare, it's a lot of things you need to call and ask about. And the more you wait on the line, the more costly it becomes. So in a month, imagine if my whole household, Adrian has a phone, my husband has a phone, and I have a phone. Then my husband was away, but my phone bill was really so expensive still. So then I realized, you know what? It's actually the English line that takes a longer time to wait than if you choose to pick like the Finnish language or the Swedish language. And then thank you so much, Sana Waingwa. Asante Sana. And then when I learned the language, and I'm like, let me try today and try and pick the Finnish language. Then you realize that in less than a minute, your call has actually been received. So I'm like, wow, this is a longer waiting line for people who want services in English on the phone call services than it is for people who speak Finnish. And I do understand that, because for example, maybe there are few people hired in the same organization that are able to attend to phone calls fluently and conveniently. And because there are few, then the longer the waiting period becomes. So that was a challenge. One I mentioned that sticks out. Another one is one time I also booked an appointment, and I had it was just like development appointment at the Neuvola, which is the baby clinic. And I met the first nurse. First, here when you come, you don't meet the doctor and the nurse on the same day. Those are two different appointments. So when I was meeting the nurse was speaking fluently in Finnish, and the English was not so good. So it meant everything I was saying, she was able to understand, but everything she was saying, I was not able to understand, if that makes sense, because her English was not in a way that I'm able to understand. Like, you can connect in between the dots, but you feel like I'm making her work so hard, and also you just feel like maybe when I come back, I should get maybe a doctor, a nurse who speaks English, which is also an option you're able to choose. So I later on was able to do something like that. But like I said again, Finnish and Swedish are the main languages spoken everywhere in Finland. It varies from like the place you're living in. For example, if you're living in the northern side, the Finnish dialect sounds a little different. But if you're living this side, it's also combined with slang. So it looks like Sheng, for example, for those who live in Kenya. Yeah, so on the jobs now, if you're coming to Finland as someone who has, and guys, if you want to join, please feel free. I'll copy the link here and paste it right here for you guys, for anyone who'd like to join. And what is it called? And chat with me. So and for those who are asking for my Cash App or PayPal, I use nellymarons@gmail.com. If you feel you want to support my platform, I would really appreciate that. Hey Sharon, thank you so much for coming back. These two languages are a struggle, I must say, but do I have an option? There's no option, love. There's no option. Which language do you speak in the country you're in? I believe Swedish, maybe? Can you please tell me? But if you live in a country where they speak Swedish, you can easily move here. Life will be much more easier. So there are many jobs in Finland, and there are also jobs that can be done by immigrants as well. Like if you're moving here and you still do not have the Finnish language, I would say, okay, let me rephrase. All jobs are for everyone, right? But if you do not have the language skills, you might find yourself looking for certain type of jobs that require minimum to low, does that make sense? Minimum to low language skills. Yeah, I think I would just say like that. So for example, these are languages that you must at least be speaking English, or able to understand English very well and communicate. I think you must be able to speak in English, literally. And these are jobs like the cleaning jobs, for example. They're cleaning companies that clean people's homes, offices, supermarkets, and stuff like that. And jobs like those you're able to find easily because you can easily manage with English, for example. And these are also jobs that you actually don't get to meet a lot of people and speak to them because you just are assigned a duty. You have to go and do it. And when you're done, you're done. You wait for your money. And then another one is food delivery, like Walt, for example. So cleaning, for example, like Fresca, there's a company called Fresca. You can look for a job there and do it without even the Finnish language. And then maybe you can choose when you want to go and do the Finnish language later on. And there's also food delivery, like Walt, for example, where again, you don't get to talk to many people. You pick the food, you drop it, you only need maybe hi, your food, your order, or something like that. It's so easy. I think the many times I've gotten my delivery come into the house, they've always just asked me about my name and if you have to sign or something like that, and that's it. And then maybe logistics company, like I've seen students who come here and then they start like their own moving company. Those are also things you can do easily in English, but also that is something that at some point you might need someone who speaks in Finnish in that same company or group of people you work with, because then when you meet the Finns, you're able to express yourself properly in the language that they do like. And then without the language skills, I think it's really hard to manage, especially in Finland, because if the main language and the only way to speak to people is the language itself. And I know the Finnish language is really hard. And I think not only on my own opinion, but for many people as well, because it's different from any European language, and it's a different dialect, it's different letter, it's different everything. How it sounds, how it's read, it's totally different. And I was saying in the previous live stream we were doing before that for me, learning German was really easy compared to learning Finnish. It was really, really easy. Learning Finnish was not easy. But at least I think as much as it's hard, it gets better with time. So if you're persistent, you're able to make it through. Like you're able to at least learn something and get to a position where you're able to express yourself and communicate and even call in the same language and stuff like that. So, for example, you might find yourself like for example, right now, there's a report I was reading on the newspapers some time back where they were talking about the Finnish labor market going down because, of course, the population here is not a lot. The older generation is much more than the younger generation, and I think this is because many Finnish families, they have at least 1 to 2 children, at most 3, and maybe to none. And because of that, they don't have much more younger generation than they have on the older generation. And then the younger generation also, they focus more, I think here people focus more on building career and building themselves before they get married, as compared to us where, I think because of the fact that equality is not our thing, I mean, as much as in some instances it might be happening in some different families, but I think because equality is not something we practice back at home, here in Finland, equality is the first thing like that stood out for me. And gender equality and equality, even when it comes to paying bills, it's 50-50. So man and woman, you guys are all the same. Like there's no like the man is higher and the woman is lower. There's nothing like that. Like you guys are both equal. So like I mentioned before in the other live, Men do take children to daycare, they do house calls as usual, they go to work as usual, they get their maternity leave as well, Isus Paiva and stuff like that. They do have all of that. So, because of that, because of something like for example, with equality, for us, I think most of the time our men are nurtured up to take care of the women. While here, you might find there are men who still take care of their women, but in most cases, it's you bring what you have, I bring what you have, we combine together, and that's our income. You understand? I don't know if that makes sense. Please let me know if it's the same as in your country, and let me know your thoughts about integration in the country you live in, so that I'm not the only one propelling this conversation. And I'm also glad to see that you guys are actually shouting out on each other. Stein TV is saying hello to Sharon and the family. Sharon is saying hi to Waingo. Tumekumiss pia wewe Waingo sana sana sana. Waingo is saying, Sharon, I miss you, Biko. Ooh, okay, squeezing Menda, Nigeria. Yeah, so thank you guys so much again for being here. If you please would share this stream, I'd really appreciate that. With your friends, also give it a like so other people are able to find this information as useful and also get to interact with me as well. As well as, do not be quiet. We don't bite. Let me know how it is in your country. I think this is just me telling you guys how it is on my side where I live, and you guys also informing me how it is where you are, because who knows, maybe next time I'll be finding myself in the country where you live in. So, that said, yeah, and thank you guys for being here. That said, there are professions that I think for me, I've always heard, like many people, if you join a conversation and you say, "Oh, I'm doing nothing," it's a job downlooked upon by many people, especially if you move to Europe. But then I feel like these are people who've really worked so hard and known even the language. And let's face it, like I think for me, I would say nursing is a job that is done probably by many immigrants, not because it's a job that is left for immigrants or only done by immigrants. And I think I had a misunderstanding between on the previous video, maybe how I framed the conversation. Nursing is a job that is done, you'll find many immigrants from different countries, not only Africa, from different countries, Asia, name it, in many places. But these are people who've come to Finland, lived in Finland for a while. Maybe they studied here, or maybe they did not study here, but then maybe they upgraded their papers here, right? And then after that, they went and did the language, and they are proficient when it comes to the language skills, because if you go to the hospital, it's the language spoken. So last time I was in Haritelu, I was in a Van Hakoti, which is the old people's homes. And in the old people's home, I got to meet like nurses, I got to meet the basic caregivers, and also just other logistics people. And there are many people that in their countries they are practicing a different profession, but coming here because of the lack of the Finnish language, for some reasons, finding a job has been not so easy. So it means someone has to take a job that they are less qualified for. No, that they are, yeah, that they are, what is it called? Their qualification is above the job title, you understand? But then they have had to take the job because it's the only option they have had. And sorry guys if you can hear my washing machine. I'm a mom that cleans at night. So that's the noise you can hear from the background. I love sleeping when everything is clean. If I go to bed and everything is still dirty, I'll just be like, oh, let me wake up or dishes. So I make sure that everything is done by the time I'm going to bed. Yeah, so to talk about nurses in Finland who are immigrants or foreigners, these are people who have really well mastered the language and they speak it very well. And it's a job that pays very well as well. So no problem with anyone who have done nursing. I have friends who do nursing in Finland who are absolutely outstanding people, men and women, and I have total respect for them. Now, I mentioned about black collar job. And my husband was telling me, Millie, there's no black collar job, it's a blue collar job. And I was like, blue? Because in my opinion, I remember when we were in when you were in, what is it called, when you were in in high school and primary school, we had white collar job and black collar job. So that's why I was saying black collar job. But then my husband taught me it's called blue collar jobs. So in blue collar jobs, these are jobs that can easily be done, for example, in my opinion, without the use of the language mostly. That is like cleaning is something you see and you do, right? And food delivery, you see, you do, So for me, sorry about that. It wasn't black collar job, but blue collar job because I'm also learning. I was still learning. So I'll try and also see like some of the comments I had gotten on the previous live stream that we did. I think it would be nice to try and understand from that point of conversation. Just 42 Tube was saying, changing schools and neighborhood is always a big challenge for kids to move to another country um, and settle to a school culture and language environment makes it even more challenging. Kids survive and adapt to changes, but it can give a permanent mark on their personality. And I think for me, this is why I was mentioning to you guys, and I've always maintained that for me, it was really important that the first year I moved here, I had to take a step back from my career and everything and say, you know what, I have to be here for the kids because I had to understand, I had to try and put myself in their shoes because these are children who they're still trying to grow, expressing themselves and everything like that. So I felt like changing a language can be also something that would disturb their development or development, for example, in school. And I needed to be there for them so that I'm able to help. Even if I do not understand the language, just being emotionally there is also help. That is something I thought. So, and again, like I mentioned, I think if you move to a different country, in my opinion, always be braced to have the one step behind because even if you come, let's say, working, the contract might end in maybe the contract was worth a year. And then after that 1 year, you're left to study the language if you still want to live in the same country and then integrate properly and stuff like that. So I think it's a good thing to just have that grace period of I'll give myself a grace period of 1 year to learn, make mistakes, relearn, and appreciate things in another way altogether. And then the culture here is totally different as well. I think we talked about culture. I mentioned a few things about things I love and things that I'm getting to find weird as well, and things that I'm still being shocked about. I think I mentioned that in the previous live stream that we did. And then the same person was saying the black collar jobs, okay, shows that you really aren't from Finland. That's true. Or you have experienced a part of Finland, which I have managed to avoid in over half a century of experience in my country. I think I've made that correction. I've been corrected that it's blue collar job. So today I know it's blue collar job. But at the same time, this was also a comment with relation to work. And again, like I'm trying to rephrase it, is that work is available. But I think in the previous conversation we were talking about was many immigrants who have not chosen to do the language are left with the option of going for the blue collar job, not the black collar job, the blue collar job, like for example, the cleaning industry, food delivery, logistics, and stuff like that, which some of them do not pay high enough that you're able to just depend on a one shift kind of thing. You might have to have double shifts and stuff like that to make the money worth maybe your monthly expenditures and something like that. So I would not say it's something that you can survive on if it's only one shift kind of job. And it's also a job done by Finns as well. Like today I met a Finnish man trying to deliver food. So it's not just meant for immigrants, but it's something that you can easily get to do. And then also with regards to driving, maybe the moving companies, like I mentioned. I've seen many people who do the transportation, even the movers we had ourselves, like people who speak Finnish, and some of them speak, what is it? They're from some Arabic country, and then there was some, yeah, they're all from different places, but they've come together to open a farm and they were running their business like that. And then foreigners are not so foreign anymore. That's also true. But to some extent, those who work as medical doctors or nurses have often been in Finland for some time. That's very true fact. And they have learned local languages reasonable enough. Well licensed and regulated job. They have permanent residence permit, that's also true, or have citizenship in Finland. They are part of the Finn society and population. They have foreign language background, but I would also not label them as foreign forever. They might feel somewhat foreign, have complex identity, but it isn't good for others to label them as such. Even Brits have become Finns. Robert, for example, is in that category. Yeah, so I think that is something I really understand. And that's why I said these people who work in Finland in um, professions that pay really well and are high in demand, like places that, for example, like hospital or places like bank. I think you can also have an English working person. But generally, what I was trying to mean was that people like nurses, for example, these are people who have stayed here. Maybe they came as students, or maybe they came and then studied nursing here, and then they expounded on their language needs, and now they speak the language so well that they're able to do the job. Because, like I was mentioning, I think for me, in my opinion, and if there's anything watching here, it's not possible to live in Finland just as an English speaker. It's close to really hard. It's close to impossible, because on your daily basis, it's hard to survive. I stayed 1 year trying to translate, and sometimes the translate does not give you the same thing you want. So it becomes really awkward and really weird. On people who are trying to study Finnish, I would say I've done the first one, the first level, which I was telling you guys was Oma Uksi. And then I've done two Elama. And for me, those two, the first one was more of a challenge because it's all spoken in Finnish, and it's all taught in Finnish, I mean. And being new and having a class where some people are actually studying for the third time or fourth time, it becomes really a challenge because you are still new, you don't know anything about the language, and you're grouped with also people who know some of the language in the same category. And for me, I'm saying that because we were doing it online. So when the teacher is teaching and some people are able to answer, they go with the thought of that every of my student is capacitated enough to understand this, although they also help, they're really helpful if you need help. But then there's a limited amount of time to which you get that help. So for example, if school hour is maybe 6 hours, then after 6 hours, you don't have the access to the teacher, and then you have to wait the next day. So it's the math. And the second one was a little easier because after learning I think the first training is the groundbreaking. And then the second training, now everything becomes more easier, understanding becomes easier. And now you tend to understand a lot of things. So I would say if you are determined, you can make it. And again, this place needs many people who work, and maybe you might be having a profession you're thinking, if why not try a place in that country. So sorry, you have a bad cough. So if you're thinking like that, you might want to consider, for example, coming to work here. And maybe you're thinking, what about the language? So if it's something you're willing to try and learn, first of all, from where you are, it's an added advantage. Then when you come here, the shock is lessened. At least you have like some, what is some grip. So when the shock comes, you have some resistance to it. But it never gets, but it gets better. What else did I wanted to mention? Yeah, so on the culture shock, I think I mentioned some of the things. Um, no, we've been having like a very bad cold. The kids just got better. They started school yesterday, and he's still having the cough. And yeah, but he's getting better. It's getting cleared off. Mine is definitely gone, but if you follow me on Instagram, you saw me drinking lemons and gingers, and I went to even as crazy as tea tree and water, and I did garlic, ginger, honey drink. That's what cleared mine. His taste buds are not so good for that. So he's taking an ample time bracing it rather. Yeah. So when you come here, there are ways you can learn the language. So for example, one of them would be, thank you so much, Mary. Thank you. Should I? A friend of mine is saying, get well soon. He says, thank you. So, for example, when you come here, there are organizations or what do they call it? Systems that are set in place to help with integration, for example. And one of them is the TE office, which is the unemployment office. So in the unemployment office, you basically go there. If you've been living in Finland and has a residence permit, it's not just for everyone, like you can apply for that from Kenya or from any other country. So if you've been living here for some time, or if you have the residence permit, that is, if you have the residence permit, yes, you can go to them, and then they're able to draft with you a plan through for your integration process. So for example, in that plan, you can write, you want to learn the language. After learning the language, probably go to work or maybe go to school. So for example, if you're coming from your country with a degree that has been certified or confirmed, then you can go straight to work, and then maybe, who knows, maybe go back to school, maybe you want to study more or something like that. So that's what they do. There's also another option of hiring online tutors, which is also an option you can choose. And there's also the government-led program, which helps people who probably have not been are Finns but have not been living in Finland for some time. So the difference with that, no, there's no difference. I think they all try and do the same thing. Although if you hire an online tutor, they will not be able to lay a plan for you into how you are able to. I think they do help because they'll tell you how you can get to choose a school, apply for schools, um, apply for work, websites to use. I think those are some of the essential information that they'll be able to provide you with. But for me, I chose the TE office because I was referred by a relative to try that one. Sorry? Yeah, and it's a government program as well. So under there, they found me a school, and then I started the school again. Like I mentioned, there's a small amount of money you're given to if you're attending the school that caters for maybe your transport to school, maybe your lunch, and maybe some small pocket money. It's not an amount of money that I can say is able to pay for your upkeep. It's not enough. You might need your main source of income, which is why I was mentioning before that if you're moving from a different country and coming to this country, you need to at least save enough to be able to help yourself out in your first years of settling in Finland, because otherwise you're really going to have a hard time managing, like trying to have the normal standard life you're used to before, if that makes sense. So it's good that they give, and I'm really appreciative of that aspect of thinking because it shows they're thinking about you as a new person coming to integrate and trying to lessen the financial burden on you as well. and that's a good thing. But also, as a person coming in, I think one of the things you need to be prepared about is your maybe first or two, your first few years, or your first year or first few months here, before you find something substantial. You can say, I found a job and I found something I really love to do, and I'm doing something that I really love. So I think that is something that I do appreciate. So with that, once you have laid down a plan, you must try to be committed to finish it up. Because if you don't finish it up and you come out of it, there are consequences to that, which will be, maybe it will take you a long time to find another place, or there could be many other consequences I don't know about, but they're not like so harsh that you must finish. No, of course, there are options you can weigh out, but I'm also trying to look at it like, after how long are you looking towards having fully intellect? What are the sustainable goals you have set for your own self? For example, if, for example, if you choose to come out of a study, in my opinion, I think it might take you another 3, 4, 6 months before you find another one. So that is 3, 4, 6 months lost, and you could have just committed and continued, even pushed forward, even if it gets hard, and finish, and then get to work or study or a profession or something like that. Yeah, so I feel like that is why I would say it's important to, what is it called? To try and commit to that program. Again, finish is really hard, but now seeing where I've come from to where I am right now, I'm just like, it's worth it. Like, it's really worth it. Some of the things that I love about the training as well is that, I think, for example, if you're an immigrant coming here, sometimes even buying books can be expensive. Let's face it, not everyone comes here with a good financial pocket, or what is the capacity. Isa, I have a snacker in my house. Anyway, there goes my snacker. Anyway, it's, thank God for appetite. I love you. Anyway, yeah, so like I was mentioning, where was I? What I like about the training is they provided us with books, for example, and things like stationaries. So those are things that are able to help you along the way, so you don't have to buy them. Not that they're too, I think the books can be costly, but the stationaries can be easily accessible to everyone. But the books and knowing the right material you need for your training can be really hard. So those are some of the things that are really appreciated on this what is it called, on this training. And yeah, can't wait to finish it out tomorrow. Yeah, so I'm now taking up questions. If you have any question, you can leave them here for me, and I'll be able to answer them as they come. um I'd love to know what you guys think, and how it is again on the place where you live. Thank you so much, Mary. So how is integration where Like, how is it like where you are? I just want to know. I think I'm quizzy sometimes. Yeah, so I'd love to know. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask me. And yeah, that's it as well. The jobs that can be done from here using English, for example, if you work in IT sector, for example, or electrical engineering, for example, plumbing, for example, which other jobs? Like I mentioned, food delivery and stuff. Those are also jobs that pay actually well, but can be done in Finnish or can also be done in Finnish. Or if you have a good place that takes both, what I've noticed over time also is the fact that if you apply for a job, and again in Finland, I think they try and give people at least equal opportunity when it comes to job seeking, which I really appreciate. But when it comes to that interview time, that is where you get to ask yourself, why am I not getting the job? Why am I not getting the job? Because you'll apply, and on the interview thing, you'll find maybe the person who got the job, the only difference there is between you and them is that they speak Finnish. So that is why I'm saying, in my opinion, it's really important that you're able to speak the language proficiently. I think that is the one place I've seen the real need for having the language itself. Um, I've seen a case where someone has best experience needed, a lot of years experience needed in that specific field. Same job title announced 3 times. You ask yourself, they applied the first time, got to even to the interview, missed the job, applied the second time, got to the interview, missed the job, the third time the position is still open and you're still there, and then finally you're taken in. It means like maybe it was just the language, and maybe they're just taking you now because they still need the position filled, but you might be the only option, maybe aside from other people who have applied, I think. But good thing with Finland, I think that I would say is there's no corruption. Like there's no corruption. Would I call that corruption? Trying to look for a job and not being qualified for lack of language. I say it's lack of skills that would unqualify you. But let's read fast. Mary is saying it's almost the same thing, but German. It's almost the same thing, but German is way too hard and complicated, as the Germans say. Isaudi, please help me with water. Yeah. Wow. Okay. Is searching for a job equally hard, or it's easy, or everyone will be able to get the job? People shy off completely to speak in English, but they understand everything. I think it's the same thing here. Could it be just something about something, a language that is not yours? Because, for example, myself, I know I'm able to communicate. But if I'm placed in a room where there are many people, sometimes I feel shy of speaking, but then I'm talkative, so I'll still say something if I have something to say. But there's that shyness that comes. So I think it could be something that affects other people as well. Yeah. But I'm waiting to hear how it goes where you are. But I think for me, I would say Finland, for example, in this case, has a lot of things to offer. The nature is so beautiful, the culture is amazing. They've managed to turn me into a coffee addict, just like that, because of their winters. But it's a good addiction. Um, I love the culture. I love the weather. I love the security here. I love that if someone is being racist, you can report them. I've had racism happens. I've experienced racism once, ever, but the other many people I've met are so amazing. I also love that the system is meant to work if you are committed to learning the new way of doing things. But the main thing I would always emphasize is don't try and lose who you were just because you want to fit in. Like, let go of everything you were before, like the Africa, the mother, like let go of every good thing your motherland gave you just to be able to fit in. Like, it's not to change you but to just help you fit in. So it's just like adding onto what you have but not subtracting from what you have. Of course, you might have to subtract maybe bad characters if you have any, but I think it's a good thing to always learn and stretch yourself sometimes. It's very hard to get a job if you don't speak German. Wow. Okay. I think it's more or less than the same thing here as well. Yeah. So I think last time I was speaking to someone, and I think this is one question I've always asked many people I've always met from my friends and stuff like that. Like, if you were to advise anyone on integration, what would that be? And I think the most profound comment I've always received is, think of this like an addition to what you have and not a subtraction of who you are. So it's you, your personality, your culture, and everything, and adding on to this other second culture. And I think for me, it's so important for me that I don't lose touch with home in terms of my culture, but instead also integrate my family here into the same, like try and exchange culture with them. Like, I'm learning this. It's also nice if they can, in a nice way, try and also learn and appreciate my culture as well. Yeah, I think I would say that. I think I've read these. Please let me know where you're watching from. And if you have any comment or questions, pop it right here. I'll be able to read it and communicate back at you. That would be really nice. Yeah, I think I've read the comments that we are having so far. Yeah. So for me, I think those are my thoughts on integration. If there are any things I would love to be done, especially if maybe there's a Finn watching here from policy making place or something like that, is the fact that I would say learning a language is hard. Um, Trying to know it completely is also really hard. And even me myself, I do not know it completely. And they should be more willing enough to allow employment opportunities also for people who are not so well proficient with Finnish, because I feel like because I feel like there's a lot of skills that are not sleeping, but waiting on the waiting list in the classrooms, learning the language, which I think is still a needed thing. But I think when people move to this country, they really want to integrate and start their life. But the waiting period before starting off is really a long time. So if they can lessen, like make it not lessen, but make it flexible in a way that you can, the employers especially, this is not the government, the employers specifically, because it's the employers at the end of the day that has the power to give you a job or not give you a job. So for me, if people can look into the skills that you have more than the language itself, considering that now almost everyone travels, speaks English, it's even taught in school these days, I think it would be really a nice thing than to see other people waiting for a long time, maybe a period of 1 year or 1 year and a half or 2 years or 3 years just trying to learn the language, because the culture shock, if you're not coming from a European country. Sorry? Yeah, the culture shock is for everyone, as I'm hearing. I think culture shock hits you like winter hits you. And one of them, in a nice way, like I told you, is the one that I usually watch the cars, the thing that cleans the road. I think culture shock is hard, and having a skill and having to sit on it because you're not able to practice can be something that employers can really consider, but they have not really considered a lot on it. So I'd say that is something that still needs to be worked on, because if we face the reality, the older population is high, the younger population is low. There's still a big gap to be bridged, but there's a lot of knowledge lying in classes or waiting in classes to get to know the language properly, you know. Um, I think that is something I would really highly recommend, especially for employers, because the people who have the power to choose. And like in this one instance where I'm telling you guys that someone had massively in actually years of experience and degree worth more than what they were asking for, and still lose the job and end up finding the job after 3 times of applying for the same place. So that is something that stood out for me and still has, because even in my class I have people who are professionals in their country, but now their skills are they are not able to apply it anywhere, which is why I'm saying if you're a foreigner coming here, the very first thing to do, aside from looking for the income, is to learn the language, because then you fit in completely. And before learning the language, things are going to be a little bit hard for you. And also, the foreigners, the people who are here, should be more accepting enough, I think, in that manner. Yeah. And then Mary is asking, Nelly, what's next after finishing with your integration course? My integration course is coming to an end tomorrow. Fingers crossed we pass it. And after that, I'm planning to go to school. So I'm not yet looking forward to. I might be working part time because now I know the language, and also school. Training, that is professional studies, that is for me. So that is what I want to venture in right now, and try and have a career started up here in Finland. Work maybe part-time, but not full-time, because I also have my own personal needs from back at home and also here as well. And I feel like as a woman I love to be what is it called? I've always loved to be empowered by not empowered really. I don't know, is it empowered? Is empowered the right term? But I'll say I've always loved to have something that is of my own. And I know, as much as I'm thinking business, it's not something I'm already prepared to start, because I still have a lot to learn in this place, with regards to how policies are done and everything like that. So I think business can be a thing for me here, which is something we've always been thinking about with my husband. I wanted to start my own business here. But at the same time, I feel like it's not something I want to actualize right now. Yeah. It's not something I want to actualize right now. I still want to develop in academic ways, first of all. That I think would be beneficial for me and my future as well. So that is my next move. But I think in Finland, one thing I would say after everything I've mentioned, I hope it did come out as a negative part. But after everything I've mentioned, I think one thing I would say is, if you come to Finland and you're willing enough to study the language and integrate, like there's no level you be unlimited to reach. I saw the last election that were being done here, and I was so amazed to see many Somalis and African people like me, being in places of power. And that was just outstanding. And I think this is the time that they've had the highest. So it means things are changing, and they have accepted that, other people are going to come. And now it's not so foreign as one of the audience was saying. So if you are committed into doing it for yourself, then it gets to a point where everything opens up and you're able to fit in and run to your own pace to wherever you want. Because I believe if you have gone and learned the language, I think the hardship of finding jobs and fitting into places will be really reduced massively. Yeah. If you have any questions, let me know. If you have anything you want to know, ask me and I'll be able to answer before we bring this to an end. And thank you so much for all of you who have been watching, who've been supporting since we started, who have been here with me and who are fast visiting. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate this. Yeah. What else? And also, please, guys, if you'll be willing to help me out, um, I would really appreciate if you can replay this stream or other streams that I've had before. Help me catch up on some hours I've left. Soon getting there, not yet there, but we'll soon get there. At this pace as well. Yeah, so that will really be nice. Um, if there's any question, I'm still waiting to hear them from you guys. And if there isn't any, I think we'll bring this to an end. Short and sweet. Yeah. So I'll wait for some questions to see if you guys have any questions for me. And I also had one comment I wanted to read out for you guys, left by a friend of mine, who was saying, let me see, yeah, here. Yeah, she's saying the goal is to be focused. The language might seem so hard at the beginning, but it gets easy. So I think with focus, you can be able to. If you're not focused, you might give up, end up finding jobs that don't give you enough money to earn a decent lifestyle. I think everyone lives a decent lifestyle in Finland, I think. I want to believe. Maybe not. I'm not sure. But if you want to have that dream job, I think you have to just be focused and try and don't give up on yourself and just be persistent. And I usually say if you commit yourself, like there's nothing you're not able to do, nothing you're not able to do. Personally, I'm having like a restructure of my whole career, and I think I'm braced for it. But one thing I would also advise anyone coming is we have a Mati barometer where you're kind of able to see which jobs are in high demand and which jobs are not in high demand. If you're looking into starting afresh like me, then you're able to see, because there you're able to see different professions and different jobs or something like that. And there are also people you can consult with and see like they can help you around, and things like those are able to help you determine, are you trying to target the right field? If you're planning to competently depend on yourself, or are you targeting the wrong thing? Because I think for someone coming here and new, it's good to do or train in something that you're able to pick up with the market immediately, like the labor market immediately. Like you're able to find a job that you're able to do and not study something that is not going to be beneficial to you, like almost immediately. Yeah. So, guys, I'm still waiting. If anyone has a question, I can still see the people watching. Oh, hey. Hi, how are you? Nice seeing you, Oching. How are you doing? Yes, so I would really want to know if anyone who still has a question, you can please go ahead and ask. And if you have a comment, go ahead and post it right here. I'm again here to read it, and then let's try and chit chat. Yeah. I think so far I've read all the comments here. You guys, you mean you all of you, I'm able to read all of your comments that fast. Today I tried, yeah. I think the lighting is better there than here. So you guys let me know um, what your thoughts are on the live we have had. Um, yeah, if it's any different, if it was helpful, not helpful, but I hope it was helpful. I mean, it's always good to learn something new or understand the same thing that you do know already or intrigue your understanding. Yeah, your in law has been coughing. Me too. I still have like a mild ish cold. Um, it's cleared off, but it's still a little bit there. But he still needs more rest. He's been working like with this cold also for a long time. Like he had some proposals and job deadlines he was working on. So cold and long nights has been, and also yeah, has been really a challenge on him. Mm. But to end this on a lighter thing, I think one of the things I love most, which I mentioned before about this place, is sauna and coffee. I think mostly, and the forests here, and the fact that you can just go and get anything you want from the forest and come back home and use it, but not cut the trees. Yeah. So, um, guys, if you have any question, I'll wait. If you don't, I'll just go to bed now. Tomorrow I'm going to school um so early. So I think if there's no comment coming through, then I'll take a leave and appreciate all of you for being here. And we actually just celebrated World Mental Health Day on the 10th. I did not get time to say anything about it, so I just want to say be graceful to yourself, um, be present in what is happening, but also be gracious to yourself and treat yourself with kindness if you're watching this, because you need you first to conquer everything else happening in the world. So if that is a message that would befit any of you here, I think for me that is the one thing I would say. You need to be graceful to yourself, just as the same amount of grace you give to other people. It helps when you practice kindness to the kindness you practice to other people on your own self. It's much more, it helps you get away from many things. Yeah, it helps you get away from many things. And I think I've mentioned a lot of my stories here. And one thing that I've learned to do over and over again is to be patient, graceful with myself, and forgiving and kind and loving and embracing to myself. Ochenyi is saying, nice to see you, dear. So what are the best careers to study in Finland? I think all careers are good careers. It just depends on what you want as an individual. Like, I think I wouldn't say the best career to study in Finland is this or that, because at the end of the day, you don't want to be enslaved to the job you're doing. Like, if you're doing something that is not your passion driven, then it'll be a little bit hard to find it amazing and something that you love. So for me, I would say all careers are best in Finland because they can be applied everywhere. But choosing a career just because it's selling most and you don't love it can be a bad start of a profession in Finland. Yeah, I think I would say so. But the reason why I mentioned Amati Barometer is because you're able to see in the maybe in the category of jobs you're looking for, which one sells most. So you know, okay, fine, I've studied this thing. I love this thing and this thing. So it kind of helps you to filter through easily and get exactly what can fit easily. But I wouldn't say this is the best thing to choose right now. No, I would not say so. But I would say places like medicine have a big market, IT has a big market, here still in high demand as well. the many places, logistics have a high demand also. I'd say many places have a high demand, but the language is one thing that stands out. Yeah. So I would not say that this is the best careers to study in Finland. At least I've not lived here long enough to say so. You know, I've lived here just for 2 years. So I'm giving you, and maybe unless now I go back and wake up my husband and try and ask, like, yeah, but he's gone to bed already. So I would not say this is the best thing exactly to study here, but I would say go for your passion. And if you have the language skill, you're able to actualize your dream job in Finland as well. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for being here, King. Thank you so very much as well. Yeah. So for me, I don't like. I've been in a career where I've done a job which I do not like, and I know how that feels like. And I've seen a job, being in a job that you don't like just because it's paying, and seeing something you want to be and not being able to do it. Those are two different things, and they're so painful experience to go through. I've been in a job that I had to go because I needed the money, you know. But then, was it something I loved? Partially, yes, but not completely. I know with time, jobs come with different challenges, but that is something that I think I've gone through, and I would not advise that this is the best career you have to go to and study, because at the end of the day, there's that passion that drives you towards what are you able to give. Are you able to do it to your 100% or 20% because you don't love it? People forget that we all are different, and therefore we have different abilities and ambitions. That's very true. Just that's very true. And that is why I think in the last live also I mentioned culture is something so beautiful, because culture brings us together to be able to embrace one another, and the difference we have both in skin color, if it is something to be looked at, or mental capacity of ability with education and stuff, or even skills like things to be done by hand and stuff. We all have different things, and our cultures even makes us more different, but when we come together, it's more beautiful. Like, it works in a very beautiful way. And also it's interesting that when you mix with other cultures, you actually get to notice the similarities. Like I was mentioning before, I notice here people love fish a lot. I come from a community where fish is like the food, things like silly are things we have, but we call them different names, and we eat them at home, so culture is rich, and diverse as well, but if we come together, it's so beautiful, so beautiful, so beautiful. And that is why I usually feel offended by people who look at down on other people just because they've married on other cultures, or because they have chosen to move to other places and basically being married to other cultures. I feel like mixing up enriches a place so very much, because you get people with different lines of thought, and they're able to bring and exchange the different things they have learned through life. And that is something beautiful. Yeah. Like, never did I know in my entire life I'd be able to drink 8 cups of coffee in a day. Yeah. I know it can sound too much. Coming from a place where I used to drink maybe a cup of coffee a day, or maybe 2 cups of coffee a week. So you can see the way things can change. Yeah. Um, so that is, I would say, culture is so beautiful. And on talking about culture, I think one other thing I wanted to talk about was dowry payment in African marriages. But then I don't know if it's the right time to talk about it or not. So you guys tell me. We can end it here, or we can talk a little bit about it and then see what you guys think. Let me know. Yeah. I'm waiting for you guys. Just put it to tube. Say something. Oching, say something. Manuela, say something. Manyeki, say something. You guys say something. If you're still here, that is. Let me hear your thoughts. Also ask if you want to ask. Yeah. My face is so oily right now. I need to go and clean it up. I hope today my internet has behaved like not been hanging, because sometimes I do the live streams from the rooms and I notice the internet reception is not so good. Especially if I'm on the farthest end, it gets terrible. Hey Jenshiro, how are you doing? And guys, by the way, if you're watching this, please feel free to support any other YouTuber who's been here, including Jenshiro on her platform. I would really appreciate that. I think YouTube, what I've learned over this time is we need to support each other. It's the only way that makes the journey easier, and it's the only way that has made the journey easier for me too. Having the support of other people has been so important. Some parents sometimes have to learn how different their children can be and how different directions they choose. That's true and profound. That's true and very profound. Wow. I don't know. For me, I know I'm so excited, like to see how my children take off, like who they become. And because as at now, I'm seeing like their passion, and I can already kind of tell like this one is going to be here, and this one wants to go to this direction, this one wants to go to this direction. But again, kids change over time. So I think for me, in this period of parenting, I'm just appreciating the journey, like embracing the journey, the things they're loving now. Some of them, they're things they used to love before, dropped, reloved again, or dropped everything they used to love before and now loving different other things. And yeah. Yes, I am. I think for me especially, I was brought up in a place where we were given room to grow, and room to grow in a way that it was never like you have to be like this, you have to be a doctor, or you have to be an engineer, or you have to be this. No, my mom's and my dad's main aim was education is key in life. One thing I think my dad understood, but my mom did not understand so much, is talent. Um, and my talent, for that matter, I used to love dancing a lot. And I think my mom never saw how dancing was going to help me. And my dad understands that talent is good. Okay. My mom, I think these days she has changed her mind. But when I was growing up and I loved dancing, I was actually the best dancer in my school. Can you imagine? And my mom, I remember very well her having had this conversation with my teacher, telling my teacher that I need to stop dancing, like I need to focus on academics. And one thing I know for sure is she never chose like you have to be a doctor, or you have to be a nurse, or you have to be this. No, it was just like you have to be educated. Like education will take you places you have not been before, and education will help you remove stupidity and just get you informed. Basically, that's what you're trying to say, but never like you have to be this. And I think also being a parent, my first years of parenting, I've had to parent with my mom hand in hand. Then I've had to parent with my husband as well. One thing that I've always learned, and what she has always taught me, is children are always learning and they're always growing. You need to let them have their own wings to fly. And I think for me, I let my kids, I guide them. I'm only there to guide and help, but not to enforce my ways. But of course, bad behavior will give you a timeout. Yeah, bad behaviors will give you a timeout. But otherwise, if you're good, yeah. Thank you so much, Jane Shiro. Thank you so much for the compliments. So again, I would say 10 years down the line, I think it's been such a roller coaster for me. Um, with having new children, having okay, first child to second child to third child. I think the fact that you have as a mother one child and then you have to learn the other and then you have to learn the other and treat them as three different people and not as same people is has been was a challenge, was a roller coaster, because you have to get to this point, and I think it might come naturally or might come as a journey of learning that you're actually raising three different people. For example, with toys, for example, I'll give you an example. My first son loved Duplos when he was still young. My second one did not love Duplos that much, but he loved books from, no, actually, my first son loved books from a young age, never toys, and then started loving Duplos. My second one loved Duplos just a tiny little bit, but always loved books. Daniel is all about Legos and anything built. So that is why I'm saying they're all totally different. Even in personality, my firstborn is more outgoing, more social, and everything like that. My secondborn is social, but also someone who needs his time. Like, I'll say my secondborn is more of a Finn. Yeah, my secondborn is a Finn. Like, he behaves like one. And then, but also unique in his own way. Like, he loves people, he really do love people, but he also appreciates his own time. So sometimes he takes his time off and he just wants to be himself, like me there. Adrian can be out with people, do his own thing, but also have his own space. He doesn't really give it a big thought. Like, he's able to be around people all the time if he can. My second born, I think, would not survive around people all the time because he needs his own time. And Daniel is still a baby, so he's still getting to, grow and stuff. So that's why I'm saying, I think as a parent, you have to understand that you're raising three, if you're a mom of three or two or five or 10, there are 10 different people or five different people, and you just have to embrace each for who they are and how they are. Yeah. Was dancing your obsession? I would dance to everything. I would dance to everything back then. And even up to now, like, I still love dancing. I would say. I feel like for me, body movement is so important. And it helps you connect with yourself much more better. And that is why I always loved it and I still love it up to now. Yeah. Is it an obsession? It's something I love. A fin, how cruel judgment. No, like, it's not like, so it's not like cruel in a terrible way. No. It's like he I'd say his way of doing things is same as the qualities that his dad has or his family who are here has, you know. Yeah, I would say so. So he's more of like, when I'm with you, it's fun, but also you have to understand that when I'm with myself, I want to take time to myself. Yeah, so he loves his quiet time where he will draw, he will build things. He loves documentaries. Like, he loves documentaries. My son loves documentaries. My other sons love different other games. The second one loves documentaries. Like, he's those people who, when he's watching a documentary, he wants it all quiet and zen. And when he's done there, he'll come and recite to you the whole documentary and tell you, like, this person played this role, this person played this role, this person played this role, this thing was built in this year. So he loves those kind of thing. He loves, yeah. And I think most of the things he builds and stuff like that I do share on Instagram. Adrian is more of hand skilled person. The things he builds are impeccable, like so good, so good. He's the Lego constructor in this house. Everyone loves Legos here, but Adrian has just a special touch on Legos. Um, yeah, and anything else being built that I think I would say not only Adrian, but all our children do a lot of building, constructions and everything, which is something I don't do myself. I don't like doing. I watch them do with their dad, but yeah, it's like small pieces together to build something, and I think it helps, especially with just being calm, being collected, and just seeing something small becoming a whole, something big. So we buy like these pieces and we glue them. We have to glue them together to construct something that they love, or Lego pieces to construct something that they love, or yeah, something like that. So yeah. But saying Finn is not a cruel judgment is actually a positive one in this case. A very positive one. Um, yeah, it's a very positive one because it's a quality that I think I love about him because it's him. He cannot be me, He's just him in his own way. Yeah. So he's very outgoing, but also he loves his space. He'll meet you, he'll say hello, he'll talk to you, and when he's done and he feels like he's exhausted everything he has to do around you, then he'll take his time and do his own thing. That's how he is. And that is also the same as home. He'll be around me, we'll cuddle and do everything and watch together, listen to his stories, and then he'll just go and do his own thing. It's how he is. Yeah. Yeah, planning and imagination. Like there are many things these kids build these days, and I'm like, wow. For example, 2 weeks ago, my son built a space rocket and with Lego pieces. And I've not bought like a rocket package, like just for um building, planning and building, okay, but also imagination. So I've never bought like Lego pieces come like you're able to build a car, the pieces set like to build something. I've never bought one for specifically rockets. And this one time, I think he's been watching something on science. There's some science program he's been loving to watch, and they've been watching with Adrian, the older brother, and understanding a lot of things. So they mentioned their rockets, and on this one day he sat and he built like a rocket, and even how it disassembles itself and goes off, and I was like, did you do that? And it's just amazing. It's amazing. When I start talking about my kids, I won't finish today. And then now we have also a jeep. My Adrian made jeep, and kids are amazing. Like if you're just there present to see the growth they do every day, you'll be amazed. That's all I can say. Every child is amazing, and their growth stages come with different things. You just have to be thankful to heavens to having them, or for having them. Yeah, I think those are some of the things I can think about right now. Yeah, if I start talking about my kids, I won't finish today. And yeah, but all kids are special, all kids are different. um One thing I think I've learned over time is not to compare my children amongst themselves, or other children from my children. I just treat each child as an individual, and not just, yeah. And I choose to see the good. That's why I'm talking to you about the good. I'm not talking about tantrums and stuff, because they do happen, trust me, but it's what you choose to see that makes your day or breaks your day. That's what I think. Yeah. I think so far we've exhausted everything. They follow SpaceX building spaceship. Not yet. Not yet. I think actually I'll take this and try and give them a little bit of a Friday discovery on Fridays, because during the week they get less of a screen time than the weekends. But yeah, not yet. But I think I would make them do that. We read about Titanic, and the boys built the Titanic ship, and I was like, wow. And also came from the same idea from this ship behind me here. This was a ship that I think has lasted more than 30 years, and has been handed over to me, a treasure I'm looking forward to keeping. Can you see it? It's right here. I have some books down there, but that's the ship. Yeah, that has been handed to me. It's like such a historic thing that I look forward to keeping. That's why it's in that glass. So we were reading Titanic, and then I think also with the help of this, maybe somehow, because the base of how it's balanced and everything like that, they were able to build their own Titanic. And yeah, it was really amazing to see. So amazing to see. Comparisons aren't useful. Very true. That's very true. So yeah, I think, okay, I dived into talking about kids, but again, if you have children, if you're there at the moment to experience their growth, embrace it. But also, I think for me, I'm always open to, if they choose to do other things than the things they love right now, because I don't want just to crush their dreams. Like, I want to become this. I'm like, but you love this, you have to do this. I don't want to be that kind of parent. So being available, being present for the journey is a good thing. But also, if you don't have children right now, no pressure. The world is still your world is still beautiful the way it is, and in the right timing, they'll come. And if they don't come, you are still an amazing person, a woman, father, or man, and everything. So we're not all meant to be the same. I think that's what I would say. And we all walk a different journey again. So I also want to be considerate, not to make someone feel terrible. But yeah, it's the place I am. And so that's why I'm saying I really enjoy it. Yeah, I think those are some of the things that I would say for today. And if there isn't much, I'd love to take a leave now and let you guys go to bed. Thank you so much for being here, all of you. Really do appreciate it so much, and for always coming back. I think next, let's talk about dowry now. I think I've exhausted more on what I wanted to share about integration and stuff like that. So maybe next time we talk about dowry. So come, let's talk, and let me hear about your how it happens where you are. We talked about it, but then I felt like we need to just I had like some questions and some thoughts that we've been thinking about and talking about here at home. So I wanted to also have the same conversation here and get to hear how it is. And yeah, so that is maybe something we'd love to do. And I'm still also looking forward to the promise I had made in the previous what is it called? Live stream. I sometimes say I'll come tomorrow, but I'm not able to come because school, kids, family, or many other reasons. Like the whole of last week, I've been down in bed and not feeling well. So, yeah, that's why if you don't see me and I said I'm coming, just know something came up. Don't take it too serious, but have your notification bell on so when I'm here, you know I'm here. But I really appreciate your support as well. Um, yeah, and thank you so much for sticking with me. It really means a lot. It does mean a lot, a lot, a lot, a lot. Big deal for me. So thank you so much. Love you guys so much. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye. Can you guys say good night? I'll say good night first. I'll say good night first. About Yota. For the any Finns in here watching right now, hey pa, English people watching right now, hey hey, Germans, guten Nacht. Who have I left out? Italians, ciao. Who else? Swahili, kwaherini, Luos, oritiuru, English, bye bye. Who else have I not said? Luyas, I don't know, unfortunately. Bye. Good night. Love you guys so much. And I'll see you guys in the next one as soon as you see me. But have the notification bell on so you're able to see it when I join in. I really appreciate your company. So it's less lonely when I'm with you guys. So have your notification bell on. Don't forget, if you can play this stream once more or share it around, I really appreciate that. Also, if you can share information that you know about the topic we have discussed today, I also will appreciate that. And that's why I don't delete comments or anything like that, because it's a learning, or I don't block my comments because I believe it's a learning threshold for both me and anyone else reading. So feel free to interact with me on the comment section. And also, I'll be willing to interact with you as well. I always do. You guys know I always do, right? So, yeah, it's a learning place for me. And also, any other person coming to watch this stream might also learn from there. And if you have any things that you think can help with this specific topic, let me know. If there are things you want us to talk about further, also let me know. Yeah, I really appreciate you guys. Now it's a bye. Now it's a bye now. Hey, hey. Love you guys.